Okay, so you're thinking about buying a Voyager or a Vaquero, either one. VN 1700 Kawasaki. Let's talk about some of the things that you might want to look out for that in my history have kind of popped up. Number one will be neck bearings. Okay, these bars, if you're out test driving a bike, a used bike, might not be the worst idea. Get it up to say 40-50 miles an hour and kind of don't really let go of the bars, but kind of take your hands off of both sides and see what's going to happen. If you get some shake, you probably don't have to do neck bearings. Kawasaki uses some really cheap neck bearings. They're kind of plasticky. So it's something, if you got the shake, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be neck bearings. Yeah, I don't know what the going rate is at a shop now. I'm guessing somewhere around $300-400 probably to change those out. So that would be one thing to look out for. And really, that's technically, that might be really the only thing that you might have a problem with. They did have a recall at one time for some wiring, your ignition wiring. I think that that was like years, maybe 2011, somewhere in that range, maybe up to 11s and 12s. It was rubbing the wiring, so it was grounding out after it rubbed to death. So that's one thing to think about. Some people have said they've had trouble. Very few. I can't think of but a handful of people that ever said anything with transmission. But test out that second gear pretty good. Just hammer it. Make sure that you don't have any clutch slippage or transmission trouble. And of course, if it's a clutch, it's not that bad really to change out a clutch on this thing. I did it about 2 hours probably. It's pretty simple. What else? If you hear ticking, don't be too alarmed in the beginning. Take it for a spin. Put about a good 20 minutes of run time on it or something. Get it back, cut it off, crank it back up, see if the tick's gone. A lot of times people let these bikes just sit and the oil gets all the way in the pan. There's nothing on the lifters. So sometimes it takes it some warm-up time and some run time to really get rid of that ticking noise. So try that before you just cast it away. You're going to notice if you've got let's say for a second you're buying a brand new one, or even one that hasn't been what we call in our world Ivanized. IvansPerformanceProducts.com would be the website to check out. These bikes from the factory come super lean. EPA standards, all over the world. They're really lean, and I was ready to get rid of this bike when I first got it because it was just so jerky. In the low gears, low RPMs, it was just jerk, and you couldn't find a sweet spot, to really satisfy yourself. But if you're willing to do the Ivan ECU mod, he just remaps your ECU. I'm thinking it's either 300 or 400. I'm not sure. But once you do that, you're going to notice the bike it's going to run a lot richer. The leanness will be gone. He'll take care of some heat issues for you. That's another thing with the bike. A lot of people talk about heat. I'm thinking 2012 or 2013 they put this piece on. It's actually a fan, and what it does is takes some of the heat from the motor and shoots it out the other side. So it shoots it out of here. And I'm thinking that was 12, but it might have been 13 that they started that. So if you're looking at a 9, 10, or an 11, it probably doesn't have that feature. So it's a little bit, it might run a little bit hotter on your legs there. But the Ivan, he will have your fan come on a little bit sooner. And I'm not sure how many horsepower it adds. It's on a dyno that he's got on his website, but it's something to check out. Of course, always, if you don't buy a used one, it's got a lot of miles. Look at your belt in here. Just make sure your teeth-wise it looks pretty good. Not sure how much it would cost really to change that belt. I'm sure the belt's about $300 if you do a Kawasaki belt. I'm sure there are alternatives. I think the Harley Davidson belt may fit, and it's a little bit cheaper. But you still got to go in there and you've got to put the belt on. But I think that's about it, guys. Good bike. This one's got 60,000 miles on it, I believe, right now. And another thing you might want to think about. Key, of course, would go down here. I've got mine covered up anymore because I've got a keyless ignition. So I have a keyless ignition. There's a company called Digital Guard Dog. Not spelled dog the way you would spell it. It's spelled D-A-W-G. Digital Guard Dog. And they make a kit that will fit this bike. So you just hit the button and you'll come alive. So let's see how many miles I actually do have. I got 62,677 miles on this thing, so I have no complaints. It's been to the shop one time for the neck bearings because I didn't want to do the job myself. That is the only thing this bike has ever been to the shop for. Did a clutch about 20,000 miles, and I did it myself. Put a Barnett on it. So it's been a good bike. You won't go wrong with this bike if you're looking for something just to ride around, tour a little bit. It's going to get you where you want to go. 103 cubic inches. It's a 1700 cc, which equivalates. Is that a word? Equivalates? I like it. Which equivalates to 103 cubic inches. So it's not a 117. It's enough for most people, but you're not going to get much more performance out of this bike. It's a touring bike. It's not made for speed. Some of the benefits of a lot of people look at Vaquero. Let's talk about this because I think this is important. This will be how I'll close this out. If you're buying a new bike, I'd say go with whichever you want. If you want a Vaquero, I'd do Vaquero. If you want a Voyager, if you're buying brand new, you do what you want. But if you're buying used, have a look at Voyagers. Because they actually, I'm not going to say they lose value, but they don't. Vaqueros kind of, it seems, keep their value a little bit more than Voyagers. And I don't understand it exactly. I know the Vaqueros look a lot sportier, but you get so much more with a Voyager for a little bit more money. Let's talk about what you're going to get that I can just think of. I think of three things that you're going to get. You're going to get driving lights, number one. And if you want to add driving lights to the Vaquero, and you do it with parts from Kawasaki, it's going to cost you, $400 or $500 just for simple parts to make it go into the cowl, into the fairing, just the mounting pieces. So if you're thinking about doing that, I know there's two-tone paint, it's not everybody's thing. Something to think about. Just go that direction. Okay, so driving lights, you're going to get the lowers with the Voyager, and you're going to get a trunk. So let's think about this for a second. If you didn't want the trunk on there, you could take the trunk off. Okay, you're going to be stuck with a two-tone paint job still, but you're going to have everything. I mean, the other thing that happens with the Vaquero is it's a blacked out engine. I can't really help you with that because you're going to get chrome on this one. I did paint my fins, but I can't help you otherwise. But if you're looking at used, definitely don't count the Voyager out, because it could probably save you a couple $1,000, just because people just, they're more Vaquero conscious. So if you're buying new, Vaquero is probably the way to go, because you're gonna probably maintain more of your resale value. A Voyager, you're gonna kind of lose it. There's just a certain group that kind of goes after the Voyagers, and typically it's, you know, the 50s, 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds, late 40s, whereas the Vaquero is more in the, you know, the 30-year-old, late 20s. It's just something to think about. This has been a long video. I hope all that made sense. And if you got any questions, just let me know. And if you need some oil when you buy that new bike, MEtricoil.com, www.MEtricoil.com. Come get some AMSOIL. Double your manufacturer's required mileage, or recommended mileage. All right, guys, that's all I got. See you next time, guys.